everyone, and welcome to Maverick Sports. Since our last show, 4 sports finished up the season. Cross country, volleyball, and soccer on the women's side, while the Maverick football team also saw its season come to an end in the playoffs against Central Washington. The Mavs owned a 17-7 lead with just 3:04 remaining in the game at Al Caniglia Field, but the visiting Bobcats scored 2 touchdowns, including a 100-yard kickoff return in the next 1 minute and 28 seconds, and went on to a 2017 win. It was the Mavericks' first and only loss this season, and unfortunately knocked them out of further contention as they finished at 10-1. Still, it was an incredible season with plenty of awards. Coach Pat Burns won his 6th Coach of the Year award and 2nd in a row. 8 Mavs were named All North Central Conference, with 5 of those players being named Most Valuable Player at their positions. 5 Mavs were also named to the Daktronics All-Region First Team. Congratulations to everyone who had a part in the Maverick season, and I know that individual awards don't make up for losing in the playoffs, but Maverick fans still have much to be happy about. And of course, if you take a look, you see Central Washington with on November 10th. It was a 59-21 win by the Mavericks, but then, of course, they ran into the Bobcats in the second round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. There's a look at the All-Northwest Regional team, both first and second. Jake Krause, of course, the Maverick on the second team. McNeil, Hochstein, Lewis Sauter, and Randy Cush on the first team. And, of course, the all-academic team, we can't forget about that. Ben Hochstein and Troy Cush represent the Mavericks there. Well, 2 reasons for UNO's football success are brothers who continue a family names association with Maverick football. Guy White tells us all about it.
Two things from Maverick football's undefeated regular season had these tickets selling and these fans cheering. And that is a pair of football stars that share the same last name. Senior defensive linebacker
Randy Cush
and junior wide receiver Troy Cush are brothers that share the same passion of football. A passion that they received from their dad, local furniture celebrity Rod Cush.
I mean, we came here a lot when we were younger, especially in the early 90s when we were still in elementary school and stuff. Grew up here with tailgating with our parents.
The tradition of Maverick football stems from the time when Rod Cush was a player himself.
Well, they offered me a scholarship, and I wanted to play football. I didn't want to sit the bench somewhere else, and it gave me a great opportunity to come and exploit my skills, and it was close to home, and I'm glad I did.
Rod's defensive abilities had NFL scouts consider his talent. Rod enjoyed his pro football career, something Troy and Randy say would be nice, but they're not getting their hopes up for.
You know, if there's any opportunity, anywhere, I would consider it. But, either way, I've had a good career either way.
Football is a long-cherished tradition here at UNO, and with the 2007 season ending in a heartbreaking loss, UNO fans look towards the future with the last member of the Cush legacy and know their championship hopes are still alive. With Maverick Sports, I'm Guy White.
Thanks a lot, Guy. Good job. Now let's take a look at the rest of the Maverick sports teams that finished their seasons. First, cross country. Steve Smith's crew ended its season at the NCAA Division II North Central Regional Meet. Kaylin Harris ran a career best time, placing 16th overall, but she was second short of qualifying for the national meet. Then you get a look at the academic honor roll. Of course, those 2 names, anybody who follows UNO cross country knows those 2, not only do they lead in the field, but they also lead in the classroom.
We really felt like we could make it to the national meet this year, and then we had some injury problems, which you never know when that's going to happen. There were some really bright spots. Kaylin Harris really came on, a senior, really knocked a lot of time off her best marks, and she almost made it. She missed going to nationals by 1 place. Well, next year we'll be a young squad. We won't have any seniors. We'll have incoming freshmen. I feel good about the girls that are going to come in as freshmen next year and join the squad, and then the ones who are freshmen this year will be a year older and have more mileage under their belt and more used to the college competition and training schedule. So I feel we'll be better if we can avoid the injuries.
Rose Shires entered her 18th season as head volleyball coach with a team picked to finish second in the North Central Conference. The first week of October, they suffered their 8th loss of the year, then reeled off 8 straight wins, 5 of which were 3-0 sweeps. UNO did finish second in the conference, and after dispatching Augustana in the NCAA Division II quarterfinals, met the conference's top team, Minnesota Duluth. The Mavs had trouble getting on track and lost, finishing the year at 17-9. Senior Carly Christensen cleaned up on postseason awards. The Millard South product was named All-Conference, grabbed Dektronics All-Regional First Team honors, chosen for the AVCA All-Region First Team, and tabbed for the AVCA All-American Second Team.
I felt my team really did a great job this year. We finished very strong, and darn that Minnesota Duluth, they got us at the end and knocked us out of the NCAA tournament in the quarterfinals. Katie Agnew is our setter and has been our starting setter for 2 years now. And I would say that Katie finished her senior season playing the absolute best volleyball that she's played in her life. The 1-2 punch, though, was Nicole McLeod and Carly Christensen. This year, for the 3rd year in a row, Carly was named to the All-American team, was second team All-America this year. We've had tremendous fan support. In fact, we have several top 5 in the country attendance records this year, 2007 year. And volleyball in Nebraska is just a big hit. We are so looking forward to more and more people coming out to supporting UNO volleyball.
Despite having some big holes to fill, soccer head coach Don Klosterman felt that the Mavericks would be competitive, especially with the core group of returning players. After a 4-2 loss to Minnesota State Mankato on September 30th, the Mavericks sat at 4-6. Then they started playing the way they knew that they could, and they finished the regular season with 8 straight wins. They ran their win streak to 11, ripping through the first 3 rounds of NCAA postseason play. During that streak, they outscored their opponents 25-3 with 8 shutouts, while never allowing more than 1 goal in any match. The Mavericks met Grand Valley State in the quarterfinals, only to see the Lakers win 1-0. It's the 2nd straight year the Mavs have been bounced out of postseason play by Grand Valley State. Until the only goal of that match, UNO had gone over 655 minutes without giving up a score. Again, you see another Maverick sports team not only successful on the field, but successful in the classroom. 6 Maverick soccer players make the NCC All-Academic Team.
Well, considering how we, at one point in the season, had 4 wins and 5 losses, which was not like us, we actually felt like the season was very successful. Disappointing at the end, the last game at least, disappointing, but to go from being 4-5 and then to win our next, 9 or 10 games was outstanding and really a lot of fun. Danny McCauley is just such a great leader and such a great player, and you could see the last 10 or 11 games that Danny was the person, there was no doubt. And she took the last penalty kick in the Winona game to put us into the 3rd round, and we knew she wouldn't miss, and she knew it. And it's always tough losing kids like that. It's always tough emotionally, everything, because they've meant so much to what we have done here and accomplished. And in their 4 years, that group has been to the Final Four twice and won a national championship. So that's a tough group to lose.
Since our last show, the Maverick swimming and diving team has had a mixed bag in November so far. They won their first 2 meets in October, but since then they've yet to win a meet, although they had a good showing in the Husker Invitational. And there you see the scores there. Of course, there are Division I teams involved in this as well. And UNO, the top Division II team, down in that Husker Invitational. While the women's basketball team opened its 4th season under head coach Patty Patton-Scher with 5 straight wins as of this show. November 30th, led by Alyssa Green, LaToya Wright, and Amanda Broadsack, UNO has handled each opponent, with the closest game being an 8-point win in Kansas City against Rockhurst. Over the Thanksgiving weekend, the Mavs swept both games of the UNO Classic, winning by 20 and 14 points. Green leads the team, averaging 14.8 points a game, followed by Wright's 12.8 and Broadsack's 12-point average. Wright is the top rebounder at just under 8.5 per game. Broadsack is tops with 14 assists, and Lindsey Klug is the Mavericks leader in steals with 16. And there you get a look at the Mavericks schedule so far, as you see, those first 2 games, of course, were exhibition, but since then they've just rocked and rolled. And there's that 8-point, there's that win we talked about, and of course the footage you saw came against Grandview, and then the Thanksgiving Classic. They just were all on all cylinders. I mean, it was a joy to watch that kind of basketball that was being played. Well, let's go over to the men's side, and they've been tasting the success just like the women have been. Darren Hansen's group is 5-0 as of this show. The Mavs swept games at the St. Cloud State Tournament to start the season, then continued their winning ways in the UNO Thanksgiving Classic. They beat Colorado State Pueblo by 20 points on Friday, then blasted Montana State Billings 113-56 on Saturday. 5 players averaging in double figures, led by Michael Jenkins, 19 points per game. Jerry Bennett hitting 60% from the floor, while he leads the team at just over 9 rebounds a game. There you get a good look at Jerry right there. There's a schedule for the Mavericks. They opened up with an 88-66 win, and they really haven't looked back, beating Bemidji State, then Missouri Western, of course. Then in the Thanksgiving Classic, it was taken care, as we said, Colorado State Pueblo and Montana State Billings. Look at that Billings score. Just total control by the Mavericks. So, from the hardwood to the ice, the Maverick hockey team is riding a 3-game unbeaten string as of this show, and have just one loss in the last 6 games. After a season-opening win in the Stampede Championship game, Mike Kemp's crew dropped 4 in a row. Then the UNO Icemen swept 2 at Ohio State, split a 2-game series with Ferris State before beating and tying Alaska Fairbanks over Thanksgiving weekend. Ed Del Grosso's second goal of the game gave the Mavs the winning margin on Friday. Then in Saturday's contest, the Mavs couldn't hold on to a 2-goal lead and settled for a 4-4 tie. There you get a look at the Mavericks' schedule to this point. Of course, they had penalty problems early in the season, and if you caught that one show where we had head coach Mike Kemp, he talked about even though that was a tough weekend for them, they could learn a lot from it. Obviously they have, and of course now with that tie at Fairbanks, it keeps that unbeaten streak at 3 contests. There's the CCHA standings, and the Mavericks sitting at 4-5-1. And of course there's the second half of the CCHA standings. Surprising that Fairbanks and Lake Superior State would be winless at this point. But that's just how college hockey goes sometimes, I guess. All right, the wrestling team opened its 29th season under head coach Mike Denny at the beginning of November, with individual wrestlers doing well in 3 opens, including the UNO-sponsored Kaufman Brand Open that's always held at the Sapp Fieldhouse. Redshirt freshman Aaron Denson took 3rd at the Daktronics Open at 165. Then he grabbed 2nd at the Nichols Open over in Ames, Iowa, and wrapped up the championship in that weight class in front of the home crowd in the Kaufman Brand Open. Meanwhile, Jacob Mars was named the NCC Wrestler of the Week after going 4-0 and claiming the Elite Division 197-pound championship. And there you see what we just talked about with the redshirt freshman Denson doing an excellent job. Just kind of chronologically winning. He started out 3rd, took 2nd, then he goes to the Kaufman Brand and he wins 1st. Just incredible performance by Denson. And there you see the other first place finishers for the Mavericks, Sim Burbaseka, Dominguez, Denson again, and then Jacob Mars, as we said, was the NCC Wrestler of the Week. With me right now is the head coach of the Wrestling Mavericks, a man I've known for almost as long as I've been in Omaha. He is at his 29th season. Probably one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. He doesn't like it when I talk good about him. For some reason, he blushes and does the "aw shucks" thing, but we know better. This guy deserves all the praise he gets. Talking about head coach Mike Denny. Mike, obviously, it's good to see. It's always good. And as you say to me, it's an honor and a privilege to see you.
It is, Tori. It's always good to work with you. I always enjoy it.
Well, you know, you're a 4-time national champ, coach of a national champion team. You have twice been named NCAA Division II Coach of the Year. You have other awards from Win Magazine, Dan Gable Coach of the Year, Amateur Wrestling Man of the Year. But every time I bring that up to you, you say, without the wrestlers and my assistants, I'd be nothing. And you're one of the few people I know that really means it.
Yeah, you know, I've been blessed, you know, just a great bunch of young men to work with, and, you know, some tremendous coaches. You know, Ron Higdon's been with me for 17 years.
Yeah, that's incredible when I think of that.
And I think a lot of this stuff, you know, if you stay around long enough, they'll give you an award, right?
Well,
they'll give you some kind of a plaque. And
yeah,
stick
either
around.
that or they'll give you luggage to send you out the door. You don't have to worry about that, I don't think. But I mean, you know, you've got 9 returning national qualifiers, 4 All-Americans, and 2 national champions for this team. Man, what a group. You talk about being blessed as a head coach. You look at that and say, wow, this is really great. Let's start wrestling now.
We've got a good bunch, Tori. I really feel good about this team. We were young last year, one of the youngest teams we've had in our 29 years here. But this year's team's got a lot of experience. They got the experience. Like they were young last year, but they got the. We're actually still young. We may only have 1 senior in our starting lineup. So, and we've got some sophomores and a couple of redshirt freshmen that might be right in the thick of it. So this could be a really good bunch for us, and actually, for a number of years.
You talk about redshirt freshmen. My first thought is Aaron Denson. Man, it's a chronological thing for him. 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So far this season in the 3 opens that you've been in as of this show. How do you find these guys?
Well, we knew this. He's a coach's son. We've got a number of coaches' sons on our team, and they have. It's interesting when you have somebody that's their dad has been a coach. They see it kind of from a broader perspective, more from a team kind of view. And Aaron is really. We knew Aaron was. If we didn't mess him up, we were gonna. We had a good one in him, and he really could. He could make a real impact this year as a redshirt freshman. So, yeah, he's doing well.
Well, for the people who might not be familiar with the Maverick wrestling squad, who are your leaders this year?
Well, we have, we returned a national champion at 125, Cody Garcia, another coach's son.
Yeah.
In last year, he messed up his knee, and we were able to get a hardship on him. But so we didn't have him last year for the second half of the season. We returned Todd Manili, who is a coach's son. Right. At one, returning national champ, and this young man was actually 5th in the world trials in freestyle.
Yeah,
so he's
that's right.
He's on a national level is really right in the thick of things. We have 2 freshmen back from last year that this Austin Bohm got in the finals. And he's a coach's son. So we've got 3 finalists back, and we've got some other. We've got a 197-pounder, and Jacob Mars. We got a Ross Taplin back at 174. He's moved up a weight, and then Aaron Denson is at 165 for us, and then of course Austin at 180, 184. We got a good heavyweight back in Tony Lewis. We've we got an All-American back at 141, Sim Bribasica from Boys Town.
One of the greatest names in collegiate wrestling.
Sim Bribasica. Yeah. But we've got some young men that have they've been through some things, and they've done well, and they're really looking forward to the season.
Okay, I know we don't have that much time left, but I can't let this go without talking about one of my better friends, at least in wrestling and broadcasting, and one of your former wrestlers, R.J. Neby. It's not been quite a year, and it was a tragedy and a shock to all of us when we found out he was sick.
Well, you and R.J. have worked together and done a great job for us in wrestling. And R.J. was, we're going to miss him. You're going to miss him working and doing our duels this year. And we just put him into our Ryan Kaufman Hall of Fame at our big tournament we just had a week ago. And it just, it's still. His dad come out and accepted the award, and of course his wife Mary says, a little boy Mason who's 7 years old, and his mom and brother, and it's been tough. It was tough on our wrestling family. It really was. It was tough on us, and kind of brought it all back. Putting him in the Hall of Fame, but we're gonna miss him. Wrestling's going to miss him. The high school wrestling's, he always did the state tournament, so yes, he made a real impact. And everybody that met him, he made an impact. Remembers RJ. He was quite a guy. He was. Well,
I just wanted to bring him, I wanted to bring that up before we had to go. Let's take a look ahead of what Maverick's are going to be doing here in the next few weeks. Of course, there's a lot of opens that the Mavericks get involved in. And as you can see, you've got the Northern Iowa Open coming up and the Nebraska Kearney Open. So I guess what I can say to you is, obviously, the best of luck, but we get spoiled, so we're expecting great things.
We're expecting great things too, and so I think there's high expectations.
Sure.
We have high expectations. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think this team has some real high expectations. I really think if I don't mess them up, Tori, we'll be in the thick of it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Coach. I really enjoyed talking with you. It's good seeing you again.
It's a pleasure and an honor to work with you.
All right, this head coach, wrestling coach for the Mavericks, Mike Denny. And let's take a look at the other sports upcoming schedule. You see the men's basketball the first couple weeks in December. And the women, meanwhile, have a pretty heavy schedule. Metro State, Peru State, and York. Moving to swimming and diving, the Mutual of Omaha Invitational, and then, of course, the Minnesota State Moorhead. And in hockey, Notre Dame twice and Lake Superior State. They stay in the CCHA. Joining us now in the studio is first-year athletic director David Miller. And David, I hope you had a good holiday.
Had a great holiday,
Yeah.
Thank you.
We kind of talked over the weekend. I was at the basketball classic, and we talked a little bit. And, we've got 4 teams now that have finished their seasons. And this is your first full fall at the helm of the UNO Athletic Department. Give me your thoughts.
It was a wonderful fall. I mean, in some ways it was just a typical fall for our programs. You look across the board, 3 of our 4 programs made it to the NCAA playoffs. Football team, 10-0, undefeated, first time 53 years, 4-time defending champions, Coach Burns, Coach of the Year. Volleyball, another top 25 finish. Second round of the playoffs. Soccer, 6th straight year. Quarterfinals or better. Outstanding. Our golf program won 3 tournaments in a row this fall. Yeah. And in one tournament, with our golfers, we had the top 3 positions, first, second, and third as individuals. And so it's been a wonderful fall. I've had a great chance to get to know our student athletes a little bit better. And our coaches, our student athletes, what can you say about them? They do such a great job. They truly represent our university so well.
Now that you've been here, what do you think of the fan support?
I love the fan. I love the fan
That
support.
was a softball, yeah.
I do. I love the fan support, and in football, as our success grew throughout the year, so did our attendance. And what we need to do is we need to capture those people and make sure they come back for the first and second game next year.
Sure.
And keep them interested. And same thing as with volleyball, we had a number of games where we had outstanding crowds. Same thing with soccer. And we just need to take those fans and keep building on that fan base, because I really truly believe if people come out, see our team, see our program, see how hard these kids work, that they'll want to come back and take in more UNO athletics.
Well, for you personally then, now that you've been here for a full fall season, are you happy with the path you're on, the track? Are you meeting all your objectives that you thought you would have at this point?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, things are going very well. I'm meeting the people I want to meet. We're getting things done. But I'll admit, with the time demands that are on all of us in the world of collegiate athletics, not only myself, but the other administrators, coaches, student athletes, there are a couple things that I wish we would have had a chance to get to, but it's still on the list, and we're going to get to those things.
When you look ahead to the winter sports season, the start, especially for the men's and women's basketball, has been incredible. And of course, Mike Denny was here earlier, and we get spoiled in Omaha with the wrestling. We figure if no one else is going to do well, we probably figure the wrestling will. This also has to be an exciting season for you.
Without question. Year in and year out, Coach Denny and his kids, they're going to compete for a national championship. Patty with basketball, they really feel like they could have a breakout season this year. And she's real excited about the kids that she has in her program. Coach Hansen, the kids are playing hard for Darren. They're undefeated. Boy, they have themselves a test this weekend going down to Northwest Missouri State.
Sure, yeah. There's something about Northwest Missouri and UNO. I think that's kind of like an unofficial rivalry as far as I'm concerned, because we've had some great contests in all kinds of sports with that school. So,
You know, without question, in fact, the AD down there, I've become very close with him, and in fact, he's a little bit of a sounding board and confidant for me, and he pulled me aside after our football game this fall, and he just told me, he said, David, you're not going to have a better friend in this league than myself, and UNO is not going to have a better friend in the league than Northwest Missouri State. So that was good to hear.
let's talk about, I know we still have the rest of this sports season to go in the North Central, but let's talk about the MIAA a little bit. How do you look at that?
I'm excited about it. I am very excited about it. Now, I don't want this to sound bad. I'm looking forward to the move. And the North Central Conference was a great home, but look, it's going away.
Right.
And it was a great conference. We're going to MIAA. And it was one of the most competitive conferences, D2 conferences in the country in recent years, if not the best.
Right.
With the addition of UNO in our athletic program across the board, I clearly think we can make the argument that the MIAA is the best Division II conference in the country. If you look at football and volleyball to start off the season, half of the top 25 in the country was taken up. 5 of our programs in the MIAA were in the top 25 to start the season. Half of our league is in the top 25 in the country. That's very impressive.
Well, already our time's up. It's gone by pretty quick. Anytime you're here, the time just zips right by. But I appreciate you coming back and joining us on Maverick Sports. And, of course, before the season's over, we'll have you back again.
It's my pleasure.
All right, that's Athletic Director David Miller in his first full year here at UNO. And I'll tell you what, I've only known him a short time. Good guy. Get to meet him. See him in public. Come up and say hi. He's really great. Don't let his size scare you, you know. Here's a look at the replay for this show, Monday, December 3rd at 9:30 in the morning, Tuesday, December 4th at noon. And then our next show will be Friday, December 14th, again on the 17th, and then Tuesday, December 18th at noon. Well, that's it for this show. Until next time, hang high, the Crimson and Black. See ya.